Alright, let's talk about what just happened, because honestly, this is one of those moments where the headlines don't even capture how serious things really are. So, picture this. The world is already on edge. Tensions between Iran, Israel and the United States are sitting at dangerous levels. Then suddenly, a so-called ceasefire gets announced, not just by anyone, but by Donald Trump himself. And for a second, it feels like maybe, just maybe, things are about to calm down.
The United States and Iran have agreed to a ceasefire and peace talks could be held in Pakistan by Friday. Let's bring in our Washington correspondent, Jonathan Kersley, who's at the White House. Jonathan, this is a story dominating coverage worldwide. I've just spoken to the Prime Minister. We'll have that interview for our viewers after we speak, Jonathan. But the ceasefire might have been agreed. There's still signs of Iranian missiles, though, being launched.
Yeah, it's a pretty delicate situation. I mean, it could well be that these are the last of the missiles being fired, that word is yet to filter through to the Iranian forces properly. However, what we have seen is missiles intercepted in the skies above Tel Aviv. There have been fragments falling in Beersheba. It would be of concern to the Israeli forces, who are saying as so far there haven't been any injuries as a result of these Iranian missiles. But it's not just Israel where missiles are still being fired in the direction of. Saudi Arabia.
Before we continue, do us a little favour by subscribing to the channel, because over 98% of you watching haven't subscribed. It costs you nothing, not even a penny, to join this channel. Have you subscribed? Thanks so much.
But then, boom, missiles. Not rumours, not speculation. Actual missiles launched towards Israel and even targeting areas in the Gulf. And the craziest part? This is happening at the exact same time talks of peace are being pushed. That's not just confusing, that's a massive red flag. According to reports, missiles were detected heading towards Israeli territory, triggering defense systems and emergency alerts. And while many of them were intercepted, the message behind those launches is what really matters here. This wasn't just about damage, this was about power, timing, and making a statement.
Missiles are still being fired in the direction of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates have all said that missiles have been fired in their direction, that they have had to activate self-defense systems, that they have had to activate missile alert systems. So the early hours of a ceasefire, very delicate situation, very precarious situation, but authorities will be watching this space very, very closely indeed over the course of the coming hours, because you broaden out to the bigger picture, and the situation we have right now is essentially a ceasefire in place between the United States and Iran. The US military has told the Associated Press it will not be taking offensive military action. That has stopped, but that there could still be the need for defensive military action, and if so, well, that will carry on. Pakistan's Prime Minister, Pakistan emerging as the real mediator, strong force in all of this, inviting countries, the United States and Iran, to Islamabad on Friday for peace talks. Peace talks that could well involve the likes of Vice President J.D. Vance, who is emerging as somewhat of a critical player in this today.
Let's be real for a second. If a country agrees to a ceasefire and then launches missiles almost immediately, what does that tell you? Because to me, it screams one thing. This ceasefire is hanging by a thread. And honestly, I don't even think ceasefire is the right word anymore. This feels more like a strategic pause, or even worse, a political illusion. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Trump reportedly agreed to suspend US strikes for 2 weeks, but only under one major condition. Iran had to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now, if you don't understand why that matters, let me break it down for you in simple terms. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just some random waterway. It's one of the most important oil routes on the planet. We're talking about a passage that controls a huge chunk of global energy supply. So when Iran threatens or restricts that route, it doesn't just affect the Middle East, it hits the entire world. Fuel prices, economies, trade, everything. And that's exactly why Iran has been holding on to it like a bargaining chip. So when Trump says, "We'll pause attacks if you reopen the strait," that's not just diplomacy, that's pressure, that's leverage. But here's the twist. Even with that deal on the table, Iran still fired missiles, which raises a serious question. Are they even taking this ceasefire seriously? Because from where I'm standing, it doesn't look like it. In fact, this whole situation feels like a game of chess, where both sides are pretending to step back while secretly advancing their positions. Iran gets to show strength by launching missiles, the US gets to claim it's pushing for peace, Israel stays on high alert, intercepting threats and preparing for anything, and the rest of the world watching and hoping this doesn't explode into something way bigger. And let's not ignore the timing here. These missile launches happened literally as the ceasefire was being discussed, not days later, not after some breakdown in talks, right in the middle of it. That's not coincidence, that's messaging. It's like saying, "We hear you, but we're not backing down." And honestly, that's what makes this situation so dangerous, because when both sides are trying to show strength at the same time, things don't calm down, they escalate. And history has shown us this pattern over and over again. You have talks, you have promises, you have statements about peace, but on the ground, the actions tell a completely different story.
And right now, the actions are loud. Missiles flying across borders, defence systems lighting up the sky, military forces staying locked and ready. This is not what peace looks like, not even close. Another thing people aren't talking about enough is how this affects the bigger picture. Because this isn't just Iran versus Israel, this involves the United States. It involves Gulf countries. It affects global oil markets. It even pulls in international powers who rely on stability in that region. And when you have this many players involved, things can spiral fast, like really fast. One miscalculation, one missile that slips through defences, one retaliation that goes too far, and suddenly, you're not talking about tension anymore. You're talking about full-scale regional war. And if you think that sounds extreme, just look at how quickly things escalated in the past few weeks alone. This conflict didn't just appear overnight. It's been building step by step, strike by strike. And now, even when there's a supposed opportunity for peace, we're still seeing aggressive moves. That should tell you everything you need to know. Now, let me be honest with you. I don't buy the idea that this ceasefire is going to hold. Not like this. Not when missiles are still being launched. Not when trust is basically non-existent. And definitely not when both sides are still trying to prove dominance. This feels like a pause, not an ending. And maybe I'm wrong, but if we've learnt anything from global politics, it's that actions always speak louder than agreements. Right now, the actions are pointing in one direction, and it's not peace, it's tension, it's pressure, it's a situation that could go either way at any moment. So yeah, this isn't just another news story. This is one of those moments you need to pay attention to, because what happens next could shape not just the region, but the entire world. And I want to hear from you. Do you think this ceasefire is real, or is it just a cover for what's coming next? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this one is seriously up for debate. And if you want more real, unfiltered breakdowns like this, where we don't just repeat headlines but actually dig into what's going on, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because trust me, this story is far from over.